All right, welcome back. Emmanuel Acho, all Big 12, 3 years in the NFL. Speak for yourself, best-selling author, all that. Big speaker, too, everywhere, not just on TV. So Emmanuel Acho is joining us. So I'll just lay it out to you. I don't want you to have to give away all your good material
Of course. I have plenty, by the way.
So I'll steer it towards something. If Brian Flores had just said, I'm suing the Dolphins, that in itself, due to the allegations, is a bomb.
Yeah.
Asking an African-American coach to tank games when historically they don't get the second job if the first one doesn't work. Let's first talk about that. Are you shocked at that allegation?
I'm not at all shocked. Remember, there's a disconnect between ownership and coaches and players. It's not just a disconnect between the upper level and the lower level. Ownership has a goal in mind. Oh, we want the next number one overall pick, because the next number one overall pick might be Andrew Luck. It might be John Elway. It might be Troy Aikman. But head coaches, they want to play with the hand that they're dealt. So often people play the hand that they wish they had instead of the hand that they're dealt. And head coaches have a tendency to play the hand that they're dealt. No, this is a roster we currently have. Let's move with that. Owners are kind of like the people on Price is Right who always go for what's behind door number one. But what's behind door number one is rarely ever better than what you have in front of you. So I'm not at all shocked by the allegation. It is owners who don't really know what it takes to coach grown men and what it takes to win games. At the end of the day, most owners are just very rich individuals that are happy to own a team and hope it does well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for years this is how I thought. Owners, they're the smartest guys on every team. And then you watch and hear things over the course of my life. I've had multiple coaches tell me stories about owners, and it's crazy town. Mm-hmm. I mean, we always say there's 7 great quarterbacks, that's all. I'd argue there's 7 great owners, that's all. So Hugh Jackson came out today, was on social media, said, yeah, my owner was paying me more to lose games as well. So, I think some of these owners are out of their gourd. Did you ever have a relationship with any of the owners in the NFL?
I not a personal relationship like my brother, who was the executive vice president of the NFLPA, but I am very perceptive. So I would just watch some of the owners, and we'll get into that, sure, over the course of these next 10 minutes. But I didn't have a personal relationship, but oftentimes you can acquire more information through watching than through talking, and that's how I acquired all my info.
Yeah. The lawsuit itself, do you worry, because this happens all the time, that the lawsuit is so broad that it will limit Brian Flores' career going forward?
No. This is the first time that I think, at least from a black person in football, Brian Flores, as opposed to Colin Kaepernick, that Brian Flores will likely win, depending on how you define win. He will win on all levels. I do think Brian Flores will coach again. First and foremost, maybe even in this coaching cycle. I do think Brian Flores will win the lawsuit because the information is so blatantly obvious and it is so damning. I think he will win the lawsuit. I think Brian Flores will win on each and every account in several ways. Mm-hmm. Because realistically speaking, Flores could have I don't even know that Flores will settle. Like Flores, if you know him as a coach, he is a fighter.
Yes, that's who he is.
And I don't think he just wants money. He wants change. He wants to actually see this corrupt system be somehow dismantled. How will it go about being dismantled? I have some ideas, but Flores doesn't just want money. If you know anything about Brian Flores, I think he actually wants change, and he's going for it.
Yeah, he's fighting for a cause, something beyond himself.
Correct.
When I saw the Belichick, I thought it was important. When I saw the Belichick texts, and I saw Brian Flores on CBS this morning, mm-hmm. I thought this was really important. He was measured. He didn't go on just ranting, mm-hmm. because a lot of people are angry. It's called social media. Everybody's angry. But I thought it was really important when he used this word. He said, I was humiliated. And I was like, ooh. Because all of us, pimples in high school, we put on weight, we didn't get a job, a girl embarrassed us. We've all been humiliated, and it's awful. And I thought when he said that, I was like, oh, bro, I got your back. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought that was important. I thought the minute you go vulnerable on me, because we've all been burned.
Yeah.
You asked a pretty girl out at one point, and she said no, and that car ride home is awful. When he said that, and this is obviously way more serious, but when he said that, I thought, God, that is so damn human. You cannot be against him if you're a reasonable person.
Yeah. So now you get to the best point of them all. Everybody should stand behind Brian Flores, and here's why. I will preface with this, though. Colin, you owe me a take because I'm about to use my best speak for yourself take right now on the herd. So you owe me a take. I will take it over the next few weeks. I'll say it like this. Everybody has a group message, not one group message. You have two. The first group message, you keep that one annoying friend in. And the second group message, it's the identical as the first, but you remove that one friend. So when you plan your Cabo trips, you make sure not to text the group message with that one annoying friend. Yeah. When you plan your DR trips, you make sure not to text the one group message with that annoying friend. Problem. That one annoying friend, they understand that a group message exists without them, but they can't prove it. So they're just wondering, are they talking about me behind my back? Black coaches and black players, we to a degree understand there is a private group message going on amongst white NFL coaches and owners, but we can't prove it. The problem is Bill Belichick texted the wrong group message. And when Belichick texted the wrong group message, figuratively I am speaking, obviously, audience, when he texted the wrong group message, it's like, I gotcha. I knew that behind my back, you all were colluding, so to speak. I knew that behind my back, black coaches now speaking, I'm speaking on behalf of them, there was another group message. But you can't fix something from the outside. You can only fix it from the inside. So it will take the likes of the coaches on the inside, historically speaking, the white coaches, to actually say something. Bill Belichick did it incidentally as opposed to intentionally, but now we know the group message exists. And we have to operate with the knowledge and the cognition that, wait a second, there are private conversations going on. Brian Flores had an interview set for January 27th, but Bill Belichick texts Flores on January 24th, congratulations, you got the job. That very simply means that we already knew the Giants, who they were hiring before even meeting with Flores. So it's so blatantly obvious, Colin, what is going on. If you are just a reasonable person, you understand you got to get behind Flores in this moment. And not even because it's a race thing, just because it's an equality thing. Like, you have to get behind Flores in this moment.
There have been in recent years more black GMs hired, young. Is that encouraging to you?
It's a catch-22. I can't say it's not encouraging because personally, I take all small victories, a small victory. But I think when you are a black coach, it's almost like, what's the catch? You always got to ask yourself, in all honesty, like potentially when you're elevated as a black person to a position of power throughout all society, what's the catch? Are you a pawn in a greater grand game of chess that you don't realize you're being played into? But what's the catch? I'll give you this example. You now owe me two takes because I'm also using my second take for speak. I'll give you this example. 2015 is my last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chip Kelly was the head coach. Yeah. Jeffrey Lurie was the owner. I have no issues with Jeffrey Lurie. I have no issues with general manager Howie Roseman. I think they are relatively good people. Deuce Staley, black man, former Eagles running back. Yeah. He was the running back coach. Chip Kelly gets fired, I think, week 15 of the season. I see Eagles are going to interview before the season ends running back Deuce Staley. Everybody and they mama knows Deuce is not getting this job. At least I knew. And why did I know? Because I've been in the locker room with Deuce. He's a running back coach. He was drafted to the Eagles as a running back. He's viewed as a running back. He's not viewed as a head coach. Our offensive coordinator was Pat Shurmur, a former head coach, white guy. Defensive coordinator Billy Davis, been in the league for years, white guy. And you're going to interview Deuce Staley for head coach before the season ends? Rooney Rule. Instantly thinking, Rooney Rule. Of course Deuce didn't get the job. Okay, 5 years later, Doug Peterson fired by the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are going to interview running back coach Deuce Staley for the head coaching position. Deuce, you're not getting this job. But as a black man, what's Deuce supposed to do? Turn down the interview? Then everybody will start to say, well, Deuce Staley didn't want to be a head coach. He turned down the interviews. But if you take the interview, you understand you're just a pawn. Let's talk about the Giants one more time, and then I'll get back to whatever else you want to discuss. The reports allege that the Giants have only ever interviewed more than one minority candidate since the inception of the Rooney Rule, meaning they are doing the bare minimum.
Right.
If you only ever do the bare minimum in life, you didn't want to do it anyway. if Colin, the significant other asked you, hey, can you clean the house? And all you do is sweep the floor, you weren't really trying to clean the house. Right. So if you only ever do the bare minimum, you're only doing it because somebody told you to. The Giants, since the inception of the Rooney Rule, they hired Coughlin, McAdoo, Shermer, Judge, and now Daboll. 5 coaches, and you only ever interviewed more than one black person one time. If y'all can do the math at home, that's 20% of the time, 1 out of 5. Then you're only doing it because you're forced to.
I'll have an opinion, and maybe it becomes a question, is that there's a real argument to be made that what Brian did in Miami is really hard. Average to below average roster, average the below average quarterback, and he won. And oh, by the way, he was a pain in Belichick's ass because he beat him twice this year. So did McDermott, but he has Josh Allen. So I'm just saying, if I was Amara and I looked at it, I thought, we're not great at quarterback and the roster needs help. I've got a Brooklyn kid who essentially has our dilemma. And in our division, we have Mike McCarthy. We don't have Belichick. I got Dak, not Josh Allen. I can make an argument. The climb in the AFC East, you're not stopping Josh. Josh Allen has owned the Dolphins. Belichick's the smartest coach ever. So to me, it's obvious. I like the Brooklyn thing, and I also like that Coughlin and Parcells are tough guys. Brian's a tough guy.
Yeah.
That works in New York, right? Like tough guys as coach. Joe Torre. Nobody messed with Joe Torre. And so when I look at the Mars, I think he did what you need. Now, I'm not saying Daboll won't work, but he's never been a coach, and they've whiffed on 3 straight coordinators. Flores is almost the perfect northern solution because he did it down south. When I say that, that's why as an owner, I'm like, well, and Amara's making the Giants, Daboll, stick with Daniel Jones. There's only one coach in the league now with a winning record in back-to-back years with a bad quarterback. It's Brian Flores. I mean, to me, he's almost a natural fit. Am I reaching there?
No, you're right, but we have to stop down on this one word, perfect solution. And you can't have something perfect if it's packaged in imperfection. And if Brian Flores is packaged, the exterior is not perfect, then the solution can't be perfect. Because all you named were characteristics and traits of a head coach. But you got to remember, what is John Mara looking for? Was he looking for somebody who kind of looked, figuratively and literally speaking, like Brian Flores, right? Brian Flores was terminated from the Dolphins because of poor collaboration. Poor collaboration in and of itself has discriminatory undertones.
Right.
Like poor collaboration simply says, we can't get along. The only thing they couldn't get along with is Flores didn't want to lose games.
On purpose.
They didn't want to lose games on purpose. So, yes, it's perfect, but it's perfect based on how you're looking at it, Colin, and you're looking at actual coaching intangibles, whereas I do think there's just an issue of race, and we can remove race from it. There's an issue of cultural understanding or lack thereof that is a disconnect that so many owners haven't been able to get past.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.